Hello, and welcome to the Masters of Evil podcast. My name is Michael, and as always, I'm joined with the boys, Thomas and Alan. How are you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good there, sir. I have to say, I have a beverage and I had pizza being delivered, and as you can see from that right there, that says it's my birthday. So it's a solid Wednesday, I would say. What about you, Alan, and your new iPad?
I'm trying to be able. I can't hear shit off the iPad, so I'm trying to connect my fucking my AirPods to it. But one of my AirPods is fucked up. It's super staticky.
Welcome to the Masters of Evil podcast, where we hop on 5 minutes prior to the show and figure all this shit out in the first 10 minutes of the show.
That's about right.
I am still down in a basement with tons of boxes of shit, but I must say that our new house is coming along quite well, and eventually I should be in a place where I'll have all my stuff set up, probably by next week, hopefully, and have
Nice.
an actual place to sit down and do a podcast.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you were able to have another comic room like you did in the last house in this one, and if it was not in the basement and it was an actual room.
So the kids are sharing a bed or sharing a bedroom because they got a big bedroom, and then we have the primary bedroom. And instead of giving them each a bedroom, what we did was we made one a guest room because my parents or her parents are always here, and then the other room is our shared office space. So because she works from home mostly, but the basement, the other side of the basement, over there, is it's nice. It's got tons of lighting. I just gotta paint the floor, put some it's all got drywall and all that shit. So I'm gonna hang a bunch of shit in there and maybe move my desk down here and be able to have a little comic book room / gaming thing.
Nice. It's not freezing cold down there in the basement?
Oh no, this whole house is central air and central heating. So
I just don't.
Quite nice.
I don't know how basements work because we don't have them. So I just assume they're cold, dark places where people live that you don't accept into the normal house.
No. This is where we keep the evil twins that eat buckets of fish heads.
Mm-hmm. I have a buddy that I play video games with that lives in Michigan, and he plays down in the basement. And because he's running the heater all the time, all you hear is
yeah.
And we make fun of him. We're like, damn, dude, you on a plane playing fucking video games or what? It's it's fucking cold down here or up here or wherever the fuck. I'm like, okay.
Wherever basements go.
It's definitely cold in Michigan. Well, anyway, it's been, how long has it been? 2 weeks? 3 weeks? 2 weeks. So it's been 2 weeks since Alan and I did our Hawkeye, or all of us did the Hawkeye show, which I don't know why it was named Alan and Mike Do Hawkeye, because I think you're Hawkeye, Tom.
Yeah, you guys did me real well. Speaking of that, before we move forward after, away from Hawkeye, how did you guys like the finale? You have anything to input on that one?
I mean, I loved it. I figured I don't know, I figured we talked about the book, and then I really just want to talk about Spider-Man, and also I like the last few episodes of Hawkeye as well. I think we can get into Hawkeye right now. I'm down with it, whatever. Either way, I figure we keep the normal format of the show and talk about the book first, and do our ratings, and then we can talk about anything else.
Sure, go for it then.
So we read The Winter Soldier by Ed Brubaker, and who is it? Steve Epting was the artist, I believe.
It kind of went back and forth between a couple of people.
Okay. I did notice that the art changed quite a bit. Jeffrey Epstein was, I think, the inker on this, and So, I I don't know what we all read. Like I only read the six or so issues that were, the actual Winter Soldier story, because I think Brubaker's run is like 22 issues or something like that, and it was only like the middle issues that were had Bucky or everything. What did you guys read? Did you read the whole thing or?
No, I
ended
read what Tom said to read.
Yeah, which was like 6 through 14, I think.
And then he changed it up and said he read 1 through 14.
Yeah, I did. I ended up reading 1 through 14, which, if you didn't, I don't think you're missing a ton. But what the lead up is the fact that, Red Skull died, and we're trying to figure out how that happened, and a couple other people died, and that's kind of crazy. And then Bucky pretty much starts being the whole plot. For those last, 6 issues or whatever it is, except for that stupid House of M tie-in in the middle of it, which was pointless.
What's good
that
is
was the event that was going on.
Comicsology, Volume 2 actually skips that
It does.
that book. So.
Nice. See, I like that. I would much rather deal with that kind of thing than and that's when you get Marvel and DC with all their freaking tie-ins, you never know. And I was afraid that if I skipped it, it would screw me up, so I read the whole thing. I was like, yeah, no, it did not matter at all if I read that.
Yeah, so I guess, like, backtracking a little bit here, like, how much Captain America have you all read? Like, because
this is the first Captain America I've read.
I've read Rick Remender's run just because it was Rick Remender, and I honestly don't think I've ever read anything that wasn't like an event book. Like, I've never read Captain America solo, and this is probably one of the most, I don't know what you want to say, most celebrated runs of modern Captain America, I think, that's out there. So I guess if we're going to start anywhere, this is the place to start. But I have no interest in the character personally. No interest in reading anything about him. I'm generally, I don't really care either way when he shows up in a book, like an Avengers book or anything. But that being said, this reminded me exactly of the movie, which makes sense. Like, it was an awesome spy thriller, couple of issues. These people could have been anyone. This could have been Bob Rogers with no superhero powers, just chasing down his ex-military buddy who went rogue, and I would have loved this probably the same. And I think that's really all Ed Brubaker, right? Like, I love Ed Brubaker. I love Criminal. I've read some of Femme Fatale, and like a lot of his other books, like Kill or Be Killed, and some of the other stuff. But I think that's really what this is. It's just a great Ed Brubaker spy series, and it so happened that they were Marvel characters,
Yeah, I think he was perfect to take on this style of a book where it was, like you said, that whole spy espionage type of thing with using S.H.I.E.L.D. and then kind of throwing in Cap and going back to some of his memories. So you get the older stuff brought into the newer stuff. It was 100% a Brubaker book, no matter what. It was it could have been any of his books, like you said. I enjoyed it. It was kind of wordy, I would say, because of it being Brubaker. He had a lot to say, and he does pretty frequently from my experience of reading his books. But not being a huge Cap fan beforehand as well, I've read little things here and there. I did read some of Remender's run, but not a lot. I do like Invaders, like the old Invader or Defenders and stuff, and so there's little things that I've read, but this is probably the most Cap I've sat and read continuously, and I did enjoy it. But again, as you said, it really could have been anybody, and it was just a good story. It's just a kind of a plus that you have those characters well, whether it be from movies, other comics, or whatever. The story of this character, and so you're getting more of a darker backstory and stuff to it, and that always makes things cooler, in my opinion. Like with Hawkeye, just reading that. Hawkeye. He was. I'm sorry about my mispronunciation. that storyline seemed real dark and sad, and I liked it, and I like taking these bright, shiny characters and putting them into this kind of world, and it's enjoyable. I get it can't be that way all the time, obviously. Then you have just DC movies at that point, but
right, and it's just modern Batman who's always angry and killing somebody. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
pointless.
Exactly. I like the fact that it could have been dark and stuff like that, and the way it was dark was because it was crime related.
Yeah, and I think like I don't know, like, and again I haven't read enough Cap to know, but like my general understanding is that like he's the Boy Scout of the group. He's the Superman. Like always does right. He never wavers. Right. Like even under the most difficult situations, he does the right thing, and it's not even a question in his head. Right. Like I'm always going to do the right thing. And I think in this, like, he never really like steps over the line, but you see it in his face. Like you see it in his, like you hear it in the dialogue. Like he wants to, like he is ready to throw down and like politicians and grab him by the throat and put him up against the window and say like I'm gonna fucking hurt you if you don't tell me what I need to know. Like, and for me that's the other side of Cap. Like I think same like you said. I like taking these characters I don't give a fuck about and getting those 6-12 issues of like something different.
Yeah, it was cool to see that Bucky was the one, even when he was Cap's partner, he was the one to do some of the dirty work and kill the dudes, and Cap was like, I don't need to do that, it's fine, and Bucky's like going ahead and doing the Damian Wayne thing and like killing some dudes on the way in there. I realized I said Wayne and not like Wayne, like he's a freaking what's it called? Never mind.
The Wayne brothers.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
I was like, why
like
did
he's
I say
on
that?
In Living Color.
Yes. But and I don't know enough about Bucky as an older character to know if anything like that is accurate or if this is brand new kind of situation. But it was neat to see him be like the dirty person in the group of the two.
I thought it was weird. Wait, I can hear myself. This is weird.
Yeah, because you're in the studio twice.
I know, but
this is your other person.
Hold on.
I'm gonna kick you.
Is that better? No.
You sound good to us, though.
Go ahead. You're good now.
It's because I can barely hear y'all on my iPad. That's why.
Yeah, just say what you were gonna say.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I don't know, like Tom said, I don't know if it's like a new thing, but I didn't realize that they weren't like friends before teaming up. Like that was, I mean, because the only thing I know of Bucky and Cap are from fucking the movies.
Yeah.
So I figured like maybe they had, but I know Bucky and Cap were Bucky and Cap before this run, obviously. But I don't know if that's like the same. They're just like retelling it, or
if it's retconned or what. Yeah, I don't know the actual like golden age, because I mean Bucky was from the golden age, so like I don't know whether they were like friends prior to or they met during the war. I mean, this gives the portrayal of like Captain America is already like an established, like big dog. He's Captain America already, and they're like, and he notices him. He's like, "Oh, look at that guy fight. Who's that?" And he goes, "Funny you should notice. Whatever. He's training with the guy who trained you, or whatever." So, yeah, it was interesting. I think again, like it all goes back to like they could have all had wildly different names. I could have picked this book up with no idea who these people were. Like if this was just like Random Agent 1 and Random Agent 2, and I read a 6-issue series that was fun, I was like, yeah, this is awesome. This is good. Like I enjoyed it. It was fun. And yeah, that's
hey, just add my
about
other
it.
one because I can't hear you from this one at all. Oh,
We got double doom. Should we keep both on there?
yeah, I can't hear shit from the fucking iPad.
Okay.
Nice.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you a lot. Yeah, it's just like I guess the iPad doesn't go loud enough.
So any other thoughts on
I didn't like the art. The art kind of sucked.
Yeah, I agree. There were some difficult, like the physique and the faces for a lot of the characters was it was poor. It was not great. No, there was some really good stuff, some great action. Like I think all the flashback stuff was pretty cool. Like it was really well drawn.
I meant to send you some pics. There was like a part where like after the explosion, Cap like saves like a little girl, I think it is, or like some like two people or something. And he's like jumping out of like a building or something with fire. That shit looks super cool. And there's like another one where it's just like a picture of the Winter Soldier, but like doesn't show his face, and it's just kind of like, I don't know if you can see. I thought that was kind of cool. And then
I did the same thing. I forgot to send them to you.
it's like he's like the fire. I thought the fire and shit looked cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
when Bucky was remembering who he was and he like sees all his memories come down, I thought that was a cool little shot. It was like
that is a really good one. Yeah, after he holds up the cosmic cube. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there was some great imagery. I think like I wonder if there's more of a story here. Like what happens after this? Like I don't think there is, right? Like
so
I'm not.
I was gonna say one of the like side storylines that we have is with Crossbones, because you don't see him again for a little while. You see him early too in some of the issues you guys didn't read, and during the Winter Soldier section, he ends up stealing a girl and tells her that she's the Red Skull's daughter.
yeah, I read that.
So I'm wondering what the hell that is. So I went to the next issue directly after the Winter Soldier storyline, and it's Crossbones with that girl. And so I think that is another storyline that continues through those 22 issues. I don't know how long it goes, but
yeah. But and I just wonder if like Bucky's part of that now, or like, because I don't really like, again, right? Like I don't know where, like, because I know like Bucky's. I don't even. I assume he's a good guy still in the current comics.
Oh, you know what? I fucking hold on.
I don't know. Bucky's somewhere. Who knows where? Now, honestly, with that,
I think he shaved his head and moved to Southern California. Decided he was going to live out the rest of his life playing in punk rock band.
There it is.
You guys are too cool for school.
What's funny about that is I was going to text you and tell you to wear your arm.
I was sitting here and Nikki was here at my house, and she mentioned something about the arm, and I went, "Oh shit!" and ran to go get it because I meant to wear it and almost forgot.
The thing is like super tight on my arm.
Mm-hmm.
Like ridiculously
it fucking hurts like right up in here.
Yeah, it does not feel good.
So when you bought those, were they listed as like Winter Soldier Avengers arm thing, or?
Yeah. Not at all.
No.
I was so Nikki had the idea originally completely. I can't take that from her at all. She sent it to me, but the one she sent me wasn't available to purchase anymore for some reason, or it wasn't going to make it on time, one or the other. And so I just went on Amazon and typed in metal arm sleeve and then found these, and they're very just like armor kind of looking metal. It didn't. It literally came up as like just metal arm. I think
it gets the job done though.
Yeah, right. It's like you're like, this looks.
You guys
cool.
Definitely look like the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, it came with a pair of two, so I was like, well, Alan will get one. But
if I would have gotten two, I would have looked like Jax from Mortal Kombat.
It's true. It's true. I can't let you be that cool.
It's like cutting off circulation in my arm.
Yeah, so we talking ratings or anything else?
So yeah, if that ended, if the Bucky Barnes like storyline stops at issue 14 and it goes all the way up to 22,
I might read more.
I'm probably going to finish the 22, and there may be another sprinkle of him in there later. I'm not really sure, but even just to find out what Crossbones is up to and that kind of thing, it seems like it's still a based around Red Skull, whether he's alive or not. You know what I mean? So I'd like to know what the rest of it is.
I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably more reading beside. I mean, it's probably up there with Monstrous.
In dialogue amount?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot. Not
not
monstrous, not monstrous amount, but
No.
out of the stuff that we've been reading, it was definitely up there with like all the little whenever he's reading the
all the
documents. All the documents. I'm like, fuck, dude, there is so much of this shit.
Yeah, it was like a fucking novel, that issue.
Yeah. It was good though. I mean, but I also like the Winter Soldier. I think he's way cooler than Captain America is.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. Coming from like, especially just knowing him in the movies, like, yeah, Bucky's way fucking cooler. Like,
yeah, even in the movies, he's way fucking cooler. Except for I didn't really care for the Bucky that we got in the Falcon and Winter Soldier.
The show.
It's kind of a tame. I like I always say that I think that's the best MCU movie, the Winter Soldier movie. But I also really like the fight in Civil War whenever they find him in the building and they're like fighting. It reminds me of what's the fucking Japanese movie? Is it Raid, where they're fighting like up through the apartments or whatever? Is it Raid? I'm not sure if it's Raid.
I don't know.
I see we have a comment in the thingy, but Mike's too high to notice.
Oh, I noticed it. I just didn't feel like it was anything worth.
What's funny? Here. What's funny is we're both wearing the arm on the wrong arm.
I know it's the left arm, right?
Yeah.
See, he knows it's Raid. You were right.
Yeah, Raid.
That's why you share comments, bro.
Yeah.
Well, I when that one popped up, I shared it immediately. When the first one popped up, I did not share it.
But also, can you imagine how horrible it would hurt to get hit in the fucking neck with Captain America's shield? Because it literally every time he's throwing the shield at somebody, it's like their neck, and it's like I can't imagine how horrible that would feel.
I mean, those people they'd be dead.
Yeah.
How many broken spines did he leave these people with? He may not have killed them like Bucky was doing, but he just like took away their legs every time.
Yeah, you're paralyzed.
Yeah.
And there's even that.
Go. You know what bothered me was like, I feel like Iron Man just was fucking. Why was he even in this? Like he was there for like 2 pages, all of a sudden blowing shit up, and then he just was gone. And it's like
it's Iron Man, bro.
What the fuck happened? And like even the Falcon, like I just like
he needed a friend. He needed some friends, Mike.
It's true.
I get it. But like superheroes sitting on couches having casual conversations in their full uniform, like it's just not. I just can't. I can't do that. You know, like and like. They're like in some high-rise apartment. Falcon's just casually sitting there with his legs crossed, like talking to Captain America. And then like 2 pages later, they're blasting some robot that I was very thrown off by all that. I was like, I don't know where this all came from and why. I mean, like I get it. They told like, oh, this is whatever and blah blah blah, but it just didn't fit. I don't know. I felt like it was almost like filler. It was like
tell us how you really feel. Tell us how you really feel, man.
Yeah, no, now that I think about it, I didn't really like that part. I love the book. I love the few chapters we read. I will definitely go back and read the first. I think I'll go back and read all of this through more thoroughly. Take my time with it.
I really like Crossbones too. I liked him in the movies.
And he was in Civil War, right?
In the beginning, yeah. Wherever he comes back after he's all like burnt up and shit, and then he dies, and then he dies. Right. I think he dies.
I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
They put him in jail.
Yeah, I don't remember.
You go to jail, Crossbones. No.
And I don't even remember if it's in the issues that we were supposed to read or beforehand, but there's a spot where Crossbones is fighting Captain America in this, and Cap's like having flashbacks and stuff, and so he's not doing very well, and Crossbones just stops beating the shit out of him, and he's like, all right, I don't want to do this because you're obviously not cut out for it. I'm going to go back later. And just leaves him. He's like, you're not ready for this fight. It's not fun, and just leaves. And I was like, that guy's fucking tough.
I wouldn't want to fight Captain America.
I mean, yeah, this series definitely proved how much of a badass he really is, for sure.
And what's funny, whenever they were like, you kind of like see Bucky in the very beginning, I'm like, damn, he looks old as shit. They kept like showing pictures of like his face. I was like, holy fuck, he looks old. Like, what is going on with this?
You mean Bucky or you mean Captain America?
Bucky.
Yeah,
I was like, he looks Bucky like he looked kind of like Grover from Sesame Street came to life as a man. It was just like weird. I was like, what the fuck is going on with this?
Yeah, and he actually there's a scene in like issue 2, I think, where you see like a tube with green water or liquid or whatever, and you see like a metal hand in it, and someone's like, how much for that? And they're like, oh, that's not for sale, you couldn't afford that. And so like Bucky ends up being referenced really early in there.
They show that green little tube in one part of the books that we like, the issues that we read.
Yeah, when he's like, oh, they threw him in, stasis until like 85.
Yeah. You see like a little, it's like a very small, but like you see him there in the green.
Yeah.
In the ooze.
Exactly.
The ooze.
Hey, I bought you a Spider-Man, like the very first Spider-Man VHS today. The Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Really? I did not have that.
They had them for $1.99, and they had like, it was like 20% off, like year-end sale or whatever at things. So I was like, cool. They had 2 of them. I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna get both of these.
Fuck yeah. I bought some tapes off of some guy on Instagram like yesterday, I think. He had a bunch. They were like $2 each, and so I sent him this like list of like 7 different movies or something, and then he was like, oh, I had to take the post down because everyone was hitting me up way too fast, and he goes, this is what I have left of what you wanted. And one of them is the Spider-Man cartoon, and it's like when he fights Hobgoblin, and I was like, nice. But I got that, and then I got like a Halloween Disney tape, 2 tapes of Beavis and Butthead episodes, and then Children of the Corn 3, and then Highlander 2. He had Highlander 1 and 2, and I was like, I want both of them. And then apparently I wasn't fast enough, but I got Highlander 2, so I'm okay with it.
I was gonna buy you this. It was called Puppy Faces, and it was just like, from what I gathered, it was just like a bunch of puppy faces. like a VHS Puppy Faces or whatever. But then I looked at the price and it was like $7, and I was like, I'm not buying this. Like, even if it was funny. And I was gonna buy you because they have like CDs and shit there. I was gonna buy you like a Backstreet Boys CD, but it was like $20, and I was like, no. Even with 20% off, this is not that funny to me.
Like, it's not that funny of a joke.
Like, it would be hilarious if you opened it up, but also I don't want to spend that much money on this to be hilarious.
I agree. So, right. Mike, what would you give the rating on this book? I am excited to see my questions, Alan. Thank you.
I think like ultimately I really like Ed Brubaker, and I kind of like want to like this way more than I do. Like I do like it a lot. And I'll read more of it. But like there's part of me that can't get it out of my head that's just like, I wish this was just like an Image Ed Brubaker story like that. I don't even know why I feel that way. I think I'm just it's just superhero fatigue. And like maybe if I read this when it first came out, I'd be like, this was fucking amazing, right? But like Hawkeye did that for me. I read Hawkeye and I still had that same fatigue, and I was like, this is fucking amazing. And so I loved it. with this, I feel like it's a great story for what it was. I don't really care. The art was not really good, so I gotta say, like, I'm gonna say 2.5 on art. I'm gonna say 3.5 on story. So I think that's a solid 6. That's a solid 6. Yeah. That's where I'm at.
That's fair. Alan?
Yeah.
I was gonna say a 2 for art, but there was parts that I actually really did like, but then majority of it I was just like.
I think the thing that just changed it is because Tom said that there was more than one artist on this, and so that makes me want to look back and say, okay, I like this art. This is what I didn't like, because in my head I was looking at the same artist. I don't think it was definitive enough that I noticed the difference between artists.
There must have been just like a single issue or something that was like a different artist or some shit.
They went out of their way to keep it in that like Sean Phillips look, and it wasn't him 90% of the time. It was Perkins quite a few times, which is doing the current Swamp Thing, which I think he's doing better than that. Steve Epting is who started it with Brubaker, but if I'm gonna like flip through to a different issue, looks like he did 1 through 4, and then let me see if I can do this quickly enough.
And Steve Epting is a phenomenal artist, and I think it's that typical thing that you get with big artists like that. They start on a book and then
they're not that fast. A lot of those guys are not monthly book kind of guys. You know, Tony Moore left The Walking Dead. He was the best artist The Walking Dead has ever seen, and he left because he wasn't as fast as what they wanted to put the book out. Because he takes his time and he does a really good job. Lark is another guy that did quite a bit of it. I don't
Michael Lark.
His name.
Michael Lark.
Let me see if I can find
Michael Lark.
Is that loud?
No, wait, he's saying it twice was fucking funny to me.
Was it Michael Lark? I think he's a pretty good artist. He did like what was the name of that? It's that Greg Rucka series. Why can I not fucking
Michael Lark?
Oh, Lazarus.
I knew Lee Weeks did the tie-in episode or issue, which was whatever. But
I mean, that's
there's another guy named Leon. Looks like John Paul Leon did an issue. So yeah, it was probably a total of like four to six dudes, all trying to replicate Steve Epting's style, in my opinion, to keep it kind of consistent. And I think that's where you suffer, is when you're trying to find other artists that are similar and pass them off as the same storyline, you know? Because then you just get that like, oh, this face just kind of looks a little off today. And it's like, yeah, because it's not the same guy doing it, but trying to look like the same guy, and that doesn't work.
Yeah. The weird thing is a lot of those artists are like phenomenal artists. Like Steve Epting, Lee Weeks, John Paul Leon, like who, you know, he passed away this, like, I think either like this year or last year, 2020. He did like
oh yeah.
God, what the fuck is it called? The DC series, Earth X, Earth X, something like that. And I mean, like, so Lee Weeks, John Paul Leon, Steve Epting. There was somebody else. I mean, these are big names. Why did the art suck? It does not make sense to me. Yeah. Like that's kind of. I think you're right about what you said. I think everybody was trying to draw the same style. Maybe they wanted to keep that quote unquote like Marvel house style, but by doing that, like I would have loved if this was like 6 issues with 6 different artists doing their own thing, and the art changed every issue. I would have fucking loved that. Like that would have been like, I love that kind of shit. I think that's fun.
That doesn't take you out of the feel of a book, because with something like this, you get that dark crime noir style, and if you had like drastically different people every single issue, you think it would affect the story, like the tone of the story?
Yes, like if you went from like noir style to like bright
Scotty
colors,
Young.
it would be different, sure. Yeah, or to Scotty Young. Yeah, absolutely.
Fair enough.
But I think you have like a premise. You're like, hey, we're looking for like dark. Like I mean, like you can like somebody could be just doing like it could be scratchier. It could be a little bit rougher, right? But like it's still dark. It's still got that feel. The inks are still similar like cross hatching, things like that. Like, or it's not like you're going to big bubbly characters with bright colors and Jordi Belair, like who's putting in like fucking the entire spectrum of the rainbow and stuff. Like, I think you keep it within like there's a feel to the comic book. I feel like artists kind of work well in that manner on these kinds of things, but
Yeah.
yeah, that would have been interesting. Yeah, that's crazy that there's that many good artists, and I did not like the art. Yeah.
So finish
Ratings
up. Alan.
two and what? Two and what, Alan?
What was your story rating? I didn't catch that.
I mean, I would say a 4. It made me I want to read more. Like I wasn't like bored when I was reading it. So I mean, I'm definitely gonna finish the rest of it, especially because now I don't have to read on my phone anymore. So it's just a lot easier reading on the iPad.
Yeah.
Oh, so is the iPad new? Is that what it is?
Yeah. It's I got it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's
good. Dude, reading on the iPad with like Comixology
it's bigger than my face. That's literally the only reason I wanted it.
Because it's bigger than your face?
No, just so I can just read comics online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, it's so worth it, man. It's yeah. I honestly read outside of my normal pull. I probably read more comics on that app than anything else right now.
I was laughing when Mike was
easy.
talking earlier because it legit looks like he's in a prison cell. So, like I feel like the flag is covering like the window, and there's like that just random pipe in the cell.
There's 2 pipes.
Yeah. I can only see one pipe. What do you think, Tom? What's your
so reading 1 through 14, I would probably give this a 7 overall. And again, it's not the art was my least favorite part for sure, but I didn't hate it. I got past it as I read it. You know, the story drove the entire thing for sure. But like I said, reading 1 through 14, I will go all the way to 22. There's no reason not to finish it. And I thoroughly enjoyed the style of Captain America story because, again, like we said, none of us really care to read Cap. Watching the Winter Soldier movie multiple times, as we all have, you kind of feel like you know this story already, but it's giving you a different kind of perspective to it, or a slightly different backstory that you didn't quite get from the movie. And I think taking these characters and putting them into a crime noir style book, you might even, or at least I think I enjoyed it more than just a random one, because you're getting characters that you feel like you already know, and you're learning dark things about them, or watching them do a dark story and learning about their own backstory they don't even realize, or something like that. So I almost feel like you connect more to them because you've had these experiences with them before, say with movies or in other stories. Because I highly doubt there's a lot of Cap stories that are like this. I know when he did that whole Hail Hydra thing, that I'm sure that was a very dark period of
Secret Empire stuff.
Yeah,
garbage.
So, but it was well written, even if there was a lot of writing to read, and I enjoyed it, and I will finish it. So I'm gonna go with a 7.
Quick question: Did you read this? Did you read the later issues first and then go back and read it, or did you read the whole thing and then just tell us?
We talked about figuring out what we were going to read, and Alan said we were going to read from the beginning until the first trade, and then we kind of figured out where the actual storyline for Winter Soldier was and realized it was 6 to 14. And I sat there, and the last 2 days of work, in all honesty, my boss retired and her boss retired also, so no one's giving a fuck about what I'm doing right now. And so I was like, I'm going to start from the beginning And I read 5 issues of that book today while I was at work behind my desk. So I was like, I'm going to start from 1. And I'm glad I did, because there are little things that make a bit more sense as you're reading the Winter Soldier storyline. So yeah, I started from 1 and went forward.
The Jack Monroe shit was depressing.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about that character except for that he existed. Like, I've seen him and heard his name and things, but like actually going back, and I don't know if that's touched on at all in other books, like the whole nomad stuff or any of that. And so reading that, I was like, dude, this is fucked up. And it makes me want to like go back in the 90s and see some of the shit that he was in, but it's also 90s shit. And so it's probably
not. Yeah, it's probably not worth the shit.
Yeah.
More times than not, these characters who are seemingly interesting now have nothing worth reading from back any time in prior 90s, even most of those 80s characters too. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah.
And I feel like you're getting a cool writer being able to take a story and make it depressing or make it interesting now in like a 1 to 2 issue backstory, instead of reading all this garbage that these characters did back in the 90s, because all it was in the 90s was, pouches and straight lines and fighting, you know what I mean?
Why I just don't understand, Tom, why you don't like Tom King and what he does with DC characters, because he takes obscure DC characters and just writes great stories about them being in everyday life and dealing with horrible things and being depressed and in a dark comedic way.
So I'll tell you. Mr. Miracle, I just could not do. I bought the trade whole thing. I tried to, couldn't do it. Before that, was it before or right after? I can't remember. When he did the Swamp Thing story, it was just a contained, like, prestige format style story with Jason.
It was the Walmart one, right?
No, it was a prestige format that he did with Jason Fabok about him in the snow, and he finds this little boy, and he's protecting the little boy, and then finds out the boy is like entity of the rot kind of deal, and he's the bad kid. But anyways, that Swamp Thing story standalone was one of my favorites that I've read, period, in all honesty. So I brought a French edition hardcover of Swamp Thing that included that story in it, and I had him sign it, and he was very excited to see it because he'd never seen it before. It was also in black and white, so it looks way cooler. But I loved that. The reason I see, that's another thing that someone just mentioned. I never read the Vision story, and I've heard it was really good. Yeah, see, and so I should check that out. And same with Human Target. I know nothing about Human Target, and I don't give a shit about Human Target, and I'm sure it's pretty cool.
The third issue came out today. The first 2 issues I read back to back. They were, I'm like, I want to know everything about this character, and I know it's a horrible character. There's nothing to know about him, but
so like,
he does that.
What I'll say is, from the small amounts that I've read of Tom King, there were things that I loved and things that he, could piss off for. And so, which means I should check out more of them, and I just have not yet. That's all.
Yeah. Dude, his Rorschach was absolutely fantastic.
Really?
So
I've heard
Dude, I saved every issue. I read the first 2 issues, and then I stopped reading it. And then I waited. They all built up, and the last one came out, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I sat down, and I read like 6 issues in one night, which is like, it's heavy reading. It's not like, it's like similar to Watchmen style reading, and then finish the rest the next morning. Like, I literally only stopped because I was tired and I didn't want to be falling asleep. Yeah, it was fantastic. His stuff is great. I mean, Strange Adventures is great. Even, I haven't read it yet, but like his Supergirl book right now is like getting tons of like really overwhelmingly great reviews. I don't know. He's just fun. He's good at picking away at characters that you don't normally think about.
I'm gonna go grab that Swamp Thing one I was talking about because it's really cool. Okay. So I just want to show you.
So is it the winter special?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Hey,
Alan, what do you think about Tom King?
While Tom is gone, what do you think of the Batman trailer?
Oh man, it looks so good. Like I think, I'm stoked about this movie. Like
I don't like him as I
is-
don't. He's it's like one of those where he looks like a good Batman, but like a horrible Bruce Wayne.
maybe. I mean, Bruce Wayne. I mean, I think the thing about it is visually, he's a very different Bruce Wayne than what we're used to.
Yeah.
His hair is like all shaggy. He's like kind of slender. He's seemingly like small and almost introverted, which like is not the typical Bruce Wayne you get. But I don't know. That could just be him breaking down. Like the whole beginning of the movie could be him like having that whole big, big persona. That big. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm interested. Like I am very excited for it. I for some reason I had this feeling that it's just going to be spectacular. Like it looks brutal and dark, and I think like it's going to be like on that Dark Knight level.
So this
Fucking
is
Batman, Tom.
I'm sorry. I'm actually excited to see that. He doesn't sound like Christian Bale. He's not angry. He has a couple parts where he's like, "I'm vengeance," and I was like, "That's a little more than I want to hear." But otherwise, he looks like kind of emo-y, like you said. He's pretty scrawny, Lee Bermejo was actually talking about that because he was showing a photo of like his Batman that he draws, and he's very ripped, right? And then shows it next to Robert Pattinson, and he was like, "See, I realistically, like, I'm an artist and I'm a cartoonist still, as much as you want to classify it as fine art or whatever." He was like, I'm still going to exaggerate things, and he's like, that's why Batman's so fucking ripped whenever I draw him. He's like, because I still have that cartoonist in me and wants to over exaggerate things. Anyways, this is the Swamp Thing hardcover I was talking about. It's from Urban Cult. It's printed in French, and it's all in black and white, and it's super cool in black and white. So there's Jason Fabok's art with Swampy getting attacked by a bear from the winter special. It reprints I think 1 through 14. I tell you,
1 through 14 of which run? Which volume?
1 through 14 of the or 1 through 13 of the Len Wein run. That turns into, from Bernie Wrightson to Nestor Redondo and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so then on chapter 14, it's the Tom King story. And so each chapter has a colored Swamp Thing with a black and white, everything else. It's super neat. It's super weird. It's not, I can't find anything else printed like this besides maybe some of the Vertigo specials. But yeah, every chapter.
And so that same book is not printed in English?
No, it is not. It is 100% only printed in French. So the Swamp Thing issue where he meets Batman for the first time.
Yeah.
Him and Batman have sex on the windowsill.
Yes, very similar.
He's like, "Come get me, Batman. I'm hanging off here.
Take this swamp dick.
Take me, Batman."
You got the covers in the back in color. Those are like really the only things in color. But yeah, it's a super cool book. I brought it to Tom. He had never seen it before. He looked through it like very frivolously.
Give me my book back, Tom.
Yeah, and yeah, it's super cool. I like it a lot. It's cool just to flip through to look at the way that they set up everything. It's very different.
I
was gonna say since now Tom likes Tom King, we should read Sheriff of Babylon next week.
Dude, Sheriff of Babylon is fantastic.
Yeah,
Have you read any of it, Alan?
No, I saw it today. Actually, I was gonna pick it up and I was gonna read it, but now that we're talking about Tom King,
so originally that book was called Sheriff of Baghdad. Because that's
it's about like his experience in Afghanistan and shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that it's like exactly that, but I think it's I think it's just him,
Like based on his experience.
Yeah, it's him working through some shit for sure.
Yeah,
like a lot of his stuff is about PTSD. Like a lot of it is about anxiety and like depression and like all this shit that mostly he suffers from because of the time he was in Iraq. And but it's like a Western, dude. It's really fucking awesome. There's some badass characters. There's so much tension in that book, like, and it's Mitch Gerard's as well. Like, it's the first book they ever worked on together. I think outside of Omega Men, and it's fucking good, man. It's really good. I would absolutely reread that because I haven't read that in years.
You on board, Tom? You're muted, Tom.
You're muted.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I've seen the title many times before and didn't even realize that it was his. So yeah, I'm definitely down to check it out.
Yeah. They made him. For whatever reason, they made them change the name because the first 5 printed issues came out Sheriff of Baghdad, and then they changed it, and everything after that was Sheriff of Babylon. So,
Mike, what else did you want to talk about? Spider-Man, I hear.
we all saw Spider-Man. Do you want to talk about Spider-Man?
Yeah, let's talk about Spider-Man.
I feel like it's like probably the biggest thing in comic books over the past 2 weeks, right?
I told Tom, I think like maybe like 2 other people agree with me on this. I thought the very beginning of the movie was very boring. I remember turning to my sister at one point and going, "Fuck, this movie is boring as shit." And it gets better, obviously. I mean, I think the saving grace for me was William Dafoe's acting. I thought William Dafoe was the fucking. I mean, besides like the little like remarks that Jimmy Fox would throw in here and there, I thought William Dafoe was the best part of the whole fucking movie. I didn't care about Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire. I thought the Daredevil thing was way more kick-ass than that.
I agree.
I think the only thing this movie really did was just show me that Tom Holland was a better Spider-Man than Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
True. Absolutely true. I think what you said about the beginning of the movie is absolutely correct. I think this movie began when you see Matt Murdock, right? Because all that other shit before that was like a reaccount, and then like even where they're like, I don't know, like all the shit in the beginning with him, like the cameras being around his house and like him like trying to fight through being, the center of attention and people finding out who he was, like all that shit was like, I didn't want to watch it. It was boring. It wasn't very good, but I guess I understand why they had to do all that.
Yeah.
For this to make sense, like why he actually did what he did. But like, this was the most Spider-Man thing I've seen ever. Like, this is real comic book Spider-Man.
Sorry, I wanted to put my wiener on camera.
I read a thing. I guess at the same time he was filming Spider-Man, he was filming Uncharted, the video game movie, and he had a different haircut, or maybe he had just finished filming Uncharted or something like that. But they wanted him to wear a wig, and just for the side part of his hair, because they thought that the haircut that he had in Uncharted wasn't Peter Parker enough. And he told them like, "Fuck you, I'm not wearing a wig on the side of my hair. This is what Peter Parker's new haircut looks like." And I was like, that's pretty boss. Like, I mean, what are you going to tell him no and fucking recast Tom Holland in the third Spider-Man movie? Like,
right.
But I thought that was pretty tits.
Yeah. I think it's just like, it's that Spider-Man who's like, he had the quippiness to him. Like Tom Holland, the first 2 movies, like, or anytime he showed up in the MCU, it's very like, he's quippy, he's got the fun, like, I'm young, I don't know what's going on, I'm kind of goofy, like, and that all works. But this one brought like, oh, I don't know what's going on, and like, have this internal battle that is never ending. I can never make the right decision. I can never trust myself. I think horribly of myself. Like everybody around me, I'm failing everybody. It was like Empire. You know what I mean? It was Empire Strikes Back. And Tom, you won't get that reference, but everything was just sad and like he was getting beat up, and that's what Spider-Man is. But ultimately, he's super resilient, and he doesn't stop, and he stands back up, and he wins every fucking time. And like at the end of it, he fucking won. Like, and it was fucking fantastic. I thought I love this movie.
I'm sad Aunt May died. She's so fine.
I can't believe she's so hot.
Did y'all see the thing where they like interviewed her and she was talking about how she wished that Aunt May could have had a girlfriend in the movie? Like she would thought that Aunt May was a lesbian. Like
with no Uncle Ben, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, right?
Yeah. We need like an action scene, like a what is the episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia when they do Lethal Weapon? And then it's like they cut to the weird sex scene with Frank and the girl in the bed just for no reason.
Yes. Oh my god.
Just have a weird like 2-minute sex scene or 10-minute sex scene with Aunt May and another chick.
Yeah, I'm sure that would not have made the cut, but it's a good thought.
Have y'all ever watched the remake of the movie Old Boy? It has
I've only watched the original, the Korean one. I haven't watched there's an American one, right?
Yeah, it's the guy who plays Thanos in it. What's his name?
Brolin.
He's like the main character, but in the movie, his daughter is played by Scarlet Witch. And you get to see her titties in that movie. I was like, whoa. I remember watching it and I was like, fuck, that's his daughter. And I was like, oh yeah, I've seen this before. You get to see her boobies. They have a sex scene. And I was like, hell yeah, she got some titties on her.
The daughter and the dad have a sex scene?
Yeah. Well, they don't know. Like, so it's like
what? Are you serious?
Yeah. So what happens is Josh Brolin has like a 3-year-old daughter in the beginning of the movie. He doesn't ever see her or anything like that. He's like a big time drunk or whatever. He gets like drunk and this guy kidnaps him and puts him in a room for 20 years. And is like feeding him like this like new stuff that's like all fake and all made up because Josh Brolin's character went to school with the guy's sister and saw the sister fucking the dad and like told everyone in the school and they called her a fucking whore and all this shit. And then like the dad ended up killing his whole family. So I guess kind of like a way to get back at Josh Brolin's character is he introduces his daughter into his life, not knowing that it's his daughter, and they like kind of fall in love. And there's like a part where he's like, everything's like set up and he's watching like all these cameras and shit. And there's like a sex scene. And at the very end of it, he reveals like, hey, this is your daughter, bro. And he's like, no.
What's the name of this? What's the name of this movie? That's
called
crazy. What is it?
Old Boy.
Old Boy, huh?
Old Boy. It's on. Yeah. I think it's on. It might be on Netflix.
It's a Korean. No, it's a Korean movie. I just don't. Maybe I. Yeah, I don't remember that being his daughter.
It has like a really good cast. There's the guy who what is the guy who played Freddie Mercury in the movie.
Yeah, I know who you're talking. I don't know his name, but I know
Malik. He's literally in the movie for like 5 seconds, and you see him get hit in the head with a hammer, and he dies, and he just screams like ah, and then it's it, and I'm like, great.
I definitely remember that movie being brutal. Like,
yes, Samuel L. Jackson's in the movie. I mean, it's a pretty good cast, but I was like, fuck, I totally forgot about that whole him having sex with his daughter fucking thing. But she has nice titties.
All right, so Spider-Man
is lacking titties.
Spider-Man ain't got no titties, bro.
No titties. I saw an article on Yahoo the other day, and it was like, why Spider-Man fans don't want a sex scene in Spider-Man. And I was like, who the fuck are you talking to? Because you're not talking to Spider-Man fans. even men want to watch Tom Holland fuck somebody. Like, get out of here.
I watched Tom Holland fuck somebody. Mike, you volunteered to get fucked by Tom Holland?
How much am I getting paid? That's all.
Nothing. I would peek in and go, yeah, get it, Tom. Show Mike who's boss. I mean, because clearly, based on physique, Tom Holland's going to be the man in that scenario.
Yeah, he may be 5'4", but he's a top.
Yeah, he's gonna. I mean, Tom, you're definitely a bottom. The beard.
I'm squishy.
Yeah,
I'm squishy.
Soft. I'm like not quite like the Michelin Man, but I'm like the little mini Stay Puffed guys from the new.
I mean, let's face it, we're all getting fucked by Tom Holland.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah,
probably gonna happen.
Anyways, I cried in this movie multiple times. I'll be honest with you.
Did you really?
I cried.
I cried.
I had tears. Yeah, I had tears coming down my face while I was sitting by myself at the matinee the day after. It was Sunday, I think. So 2 days, whatever, 3 days after it came out. I went to like an 11 o'clock showing. And when Aunt May died, I cried. And then towards the end again, I don't remember. I had some tears, man. I was emotional. This was a good movie.
Yeah, Andrew Garfield fucked me up multiple times.
Yeah.
Just listening to him talk and about how sad he was about, everything. I was just like, that's fucking terrible. And then he saved MJ.
When he saved MJ, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes,
like he was like,
absolutely.
Did you cry when that happened? And I was like, yes. Yes, I did.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I like most about this is like, I never hated any of the movies. Like they all had their shitty things. Like Andrew Garfield is a good Spider-Man. The movies were just bad movies. Like he wasn't a bad Spider-Man. I don't think so. Like I think the villains were horrible. I think the movies were horrible, but I think him as Spider-Man is unbelievable.
I think
it was fine.
I mean, you could put Tom in a goddamn Spider-Man mask, and I go, "That's a good fucking Spider-Man." You know what I mean? Like
he was good being in the costume, smart, snarky Spider-Man, but as Peter Parker, he was too attractive. He was too cool. He rode a skateboard. He wore Thrasher shirts all the time. Like that part of him didn't quite add up. But he
wasn't Peter Parker.
I'm sure. I mean, the writing for those movies were horrible. So I mean,
exactly. If Marvel and Kevin Feige and those people were watching that situation when it all took place, they would not have let him do those things or write those things into those stories. You know what I mean? I highly doubt it. At least
there's like a petition now for them to do a Spider-Man 3 with Andrew Garfield, and I'm like, I don't want to see that. Just because he was good in this, I don't even think he was that great. I thought the interaction between all three of them was kind of weird, honestly.
It was kind of weird. I think Tobey Maguire was weird in this movie. Like he had that like creepy old man look. Like,
well, what's weird is I watched.
I
watched. There was like a Between Two Ferns, like a holiday special, and Tobey Maguire and Samuel L. Jackson on there, and I'm like, Tobey Maguire doesn't look as old as he did in fucking Spider-Man. Like it literally was just like last month, this fucking special, or couple weeks ago that special came out. I'm like, why does he look so damn old in Spider-Man, but not in the fucking real life? Like, what the fuck is going on? He looked old as shit. Like as soon as they showed his face, I was like, fuck, he looked old.
Because in real life, he probably dyes his hair. He does all this other shit. And then in this movie, they probably he had like gray hair and shit. Like they did that on purpose, probably,
He looked old as shit.
You think this is Tom Holland's last Spider-Man movie?
They've already talked about doing another fucking 3 movies.
Yeah, I think there's like you drop a shit. They just give him a shit ton of money, and who could say no to something like that? Like,
yeah, I've heard multiple things. I've heard him in interviews talk about how I had a good run, but it'd be great to see some diversity as Spider-Man, maybe a woman, maybe this or that.
No, if they do a fucking Spider-Woman movie, I'm gonna scream.
Yeah, but at the same time, they've already announced that he's signed on for 3 more movies. So it's like, what do you actually believe? Yeah. You know what I mean? And they're 3 standalone movies, not him being in other Marvel movies either.
Yeah. you can have 3 more movies with him introducing Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen, or Scarlet Spider, or fucking an endless amount of cast members that then take over. Like, I mean, that's absolutely.
But it's one of those things that I just don't see it
Miles
being
Morales
as.
You're gonna see Miles Morales.
I feel like eventually we're gonna see Miles Morales, because there was even I saw a thing where there was like this actor named Miles Davis, I think.
No,
I think that's his name. I literally fucking looked it up earlier today.
He should change his name immediately, because not Miles Davis.
No, it's not Miles Davis. I don't know who the fuck it is. It's Miles something, but
your pants is cool. Consider me Miles Davis.
Oh no, his name is Miles Brown. He's a 17-year-old actor, but he was at the fucking like the Spider-Man. I don't know if you can. Oh, fuck, I'll have to send it to the group chat. But he looks like Miles Morales. He's like a real light skin, and he's like taking a picture with every single person from Spider-Man. So I mean, I definitely see. I definitely see. But it for me, I feel like it won't ever be as good as Spider-Man. Like Peter Parker is Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, well, I agree. I get that. I think there's just so much history there, right? Like, you can't compare the two.
No.
Like, even like you even say, like, I'll make the comparison here, right? Like Batman and Nightwing. Like, even Nightwing. Like, there's a lot of fans out there that love Nightwing and love Dick Grayson. I love Dick Grayson, right? Like, I almost want to read the Nightwing. I love Dick. I'd rather read a really good Nightwing story than a Batman story right now. You know what I mean? But like, can I say that I like Nightwing better than Batman? I don't know that I could, because there's so much fucking history. How could you ever compare? Like, some of the best shit I've ever the shit I've loved the most about comics comes from Batman. Like, it's the same thing with Spider-Man. Like, Miles Morales is awesome. Like, Bendis' stories around him is fucking awesome. Can I say that I love him as much as I do Peter Parker? Absolutely not. I've read so much more about him.
Mike's a racist.
Yeah, right.
It's one of those things where like a movie would be cool, and I don't necessarily know if it needs to keep happening or anything like that. And it may just not be necessarily for us. You know what I mean? And so I like Into the Spider-Verse is one of the my favorite animated movies in the past.
It's fucking an amazing movie.
It is. It really is. You know, and that has nothing to do with Peter Parker, realistically. So I think seeing a live action Miles Morales movie would be super cool, and I think we're all in that state. But are we going to be as invested going forward with that? Like, if that's the only Spider that exists, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe
if I think the reality is these movies are not made for us. And as they continue to make them, right? You're talking what, 10 years for another 3 Spider-Man movies? You know, plus everything else they're doing with, you know, like, it's not like Star Wars where they're gonna put one out every 2 years or one out every year and a half. They're gonna pace them in between other movies. So, like, if this really does happen, like, this is like, I mean, the majority of the people who watch these movies are not comic book readers.
Like, I mean, Tom Holland's been Spider-Man for 6 years.
And he's been in quite a bit over those 6 years.
Yeah, and we've gotten 3.
It's only been 6 years?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess 6 years. I know that makes sense. Yeah.
But realistically,
already been 6 years.
Like, for us at our age range, this was the culmination of Spider-Man that we know. You know what I mean? Like, we grew up going through every single one of these movies. So, like, when you see smaller kids and stuff going to see this movie, you're like, fuck you, it's not for you. It's for this 35-year-old. And, like, we know everything that's happened in these 3 Spider-Men. You know what I mean? So, like, even no matter where it goes after this, we'll watch it. I'm sure we will. But
I could be dead in 6 more years.
Is it? I don't think
True.
it's going to leave an impact like this did, just because this was ours. It was our nostalgia. It was everything we've experienced in the last.
Well, you got to think too, like kids that well, like I don't know what the group of kids that Spider-Verse appeases to, maybe like 10-year-olds or whatever. So in 16 or 6 more years from now, they're going to be teens, almost fucking adults. And if you introduce Miles Morales, it might be a hit, but us old folks are going to be like, that ain't our Spider-Man. Like,
yeah, but I mean, you're still going to appreciate it. Like, I think, I think the thing is, like, Tom Holland, when the first movie came out, Homecoming, I was like, or even when he was in Civil War, I'm like, this dude is Spider-Man. This is awesome. I'm excited to get this. This last movie this is the best part about it. It was 100% fan service to people, to us, to the people who have watched all of this stuff from before the MCU, when Tobey Maguire was Spider-Man, right? Because that's like so long ago, right? That's like, I don't know, what, 2003 or something like that? Like, it's almost 20 years that this has existed. This is pure fan service for us. And what makes it better is it hit on every level. It worked amazingly. Like, the characters were great. The recreation of the villains and the Sinister Six was fantastic. Like, bringing back everything, like, it worked. Like, they did it really fucking well. And yes, this was aimed exactly at us. 35 to 45-year-olds.
Especially y'all, because y'all cried like a bunch of bitches.
Oh, I cried, man. I'm happy to admit it.
I know, this is like the 5th time you
it
said
worked. It worked so well, and they did a great job out of it, and I hope they pull more out of this. But I think, like, moving forward, the fan service to those people is going to be like, oh, you remember Iron Man? Like Robert Downey Jr. maybe will be in a movie 10 years from now. Right, yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. is going to be dead 10 years from now, realistically.
You never know. Who knows? Right? Or it could be Steve Rogers, right? Like, who knows?
Well, that's like whenever, like, I don't, I'm kind of like weary of them introducing Riri as Iron Man. It's like even when, or yeah, Ironheart. Like, whenever I saw the Kamala Khan like trailer for or like a teaser for Miss Marvel or whatever, I was like, this is kind of whack. I don't get me wrong, I don't like Brie Larson, but I could care less about Miss Marvel's character. But I was just like, this is just, I don't know, too soon. Maybe
stop being a white 30-year-old. How dare you?
I don't know. I'm just like, I mean, but in my mind, I'm like, no one knows who fucking Kamala Khan is unless you read comic books.
Yeah, and realistic, and
nobody knew who a lot of these people were. Nobody knew who Thanos was. Like, come on, nobody knew Thanos. Nobody knew who Guardians of the Galaxy were. Nobody knows a lot of this stuff. You make it known.
Yeah, but I mean, we have one Miss Marvel movie, and then now we're already introducing another Marvel.
Yeah,
I'm kind of surprised the new America girl.
Oh yeah, America
Chavez.
Thank you. I'm kind of surprised that she's being tossed into the new Doctor Strange movie, but at the same time, I think she's a small enough character that has potential to do other things that they can just throw in, because there's not a lot of backstory they have to establish. You know what I mean?
She's a badass. She's a super powerful character.
Really?
She can jump from time and dimension. Like, she can jump between dimensions and between time. And she's got she's super strong and has she has laser eyes.
She has an S on her chest.
So she was an ultimate. She was part of the Ultimates team. Which was the most recent one was her, Blue Marvel, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, or Photon, whichever one it was. She's not she's a super powerful character. Well, and it makes sense because when you talk about multi-dimension stuff, it makes sense that she's part of it.
Yeah, and that's cool to hear, because as far as I know, someone that hasn't read her story whatsoever, it seemed very gimmicky and of the time, and it didn't seem to last very long. from the like actual Marvel series that she was in. If she was in Ultimates, I have no idea because I didn't touch a single. I've never touched an Ultimates.
Read it, Ultimates.
Yeah.
I love the Ultimates. I read all the Ultimate stuff, and the most recent one was Al Ewing, and it's got to be 4 or 5 years ago now at this point. And yeah, that's the one. I read that one because I always read Ultimates, and I'm like, and I had no idea who she was, but I learned about her through that. And I've seen her pop up in other stuff, but I
mean, as long as the writing, like I think the writing, as long as the writing's good, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
Sure.
I'm super stoked for Doctor Strange now. Like, I feel like that movie is going to be. Do you all feel like Doctor Strange is maybe the new point, like the new lead here for the next couple movies? Like,
I hope so, because I bought a Doctor Strange #1 yesterday. I had one that I sold, and then I fucking found a graded like 5.5 for like $90. I hope so.
I hope not, in all honesty, because I don't like him. I don't like Benedict Cumberbatch.
I like him. I think he's a good Doctor Strange.
He may be a good Doctor Strange.
I didn't like him in the Spider-Man movie.
The first Doctor Strange movie just felt, and this is 100% coming from someone that knows nothing about Doctor Strange's actual origin in the comic.
All right, we're reading Doctor Strange.
Yeah. So watching that movie, he was Iron Man. It was an Iron Man movie all over again. He was
the Spider-Man movie, you mean?
No. Doctor Strange #1, the first Doctor Strange movie.
Oh, right.
Felt like watching the Iron Man #1 movie.
The origin story.
Yeah, it was 100% the same style. He was a cocky, wealthy asshole that had something happen to him where he had to rethink his entire life. And I didn't.
Yeah, that's who he is, though.
It just felt like a ripoff to me. And if that's his actual storyline, then that's great. That's 100% great. But watching it as a movie person, I was like, oh, I've watched this already. And I've never necessarily cared for him as an actor either. I didn't hate any of the movies he's been in since. His the tie-ins and stuff that he's been in have been totally fine. The thing I'm most excited about for the Multiverse of Madness is the fact that it's a Sam Raimi movie, who directed the first 3 Spider-Mans and Evil Dead 1, 2, and 3.
I don't know how I feel about that, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm expecting it to be B-rated. I'm expecting it to be over the top in times, and I don't think everyone's going to like that at all. I really don't. And I think Kevin Feige is going to have to pull the reins back on Sam Raimi to keep him in line with the Marvel look and feel of all these movies, because they all are very similar.
I really hope we get a Doctor Strange strutting down the street.
I expect a lot of ladies screaming for obnoxiously long amounts of time. It's just a focus of a girl screaming for way longer than it should be. That's what needs to happen.
I think I'm hopeful that it'll be good. I think it'll be dark enough, but that he's got that he's good with that kind of dark comedy and it should be good. I mean, the funny thing is, you say how like he is to Tony Stark. I mean, when you're talking about the Ultimates, you talk about the other side, the another group is the Illuminati, right? And that's essentially Tony Stark, T'Challa, Reed Richards, and Doctor Strange, and Professor X.
I keep seeing fucking things about a petition going around about them wanting people they want Black Panther to be recast, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
I think it's gonna happen eventually.
No, they should pass it this year.
Yeah.
No, he was fucking Black Panther, bro. If it's a minor character like they did with fucking War Machine.
People felt that way about Christopher Reeves, and then all of a sudden you have Henry Cavill, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is."
Yeah, but that's completely different
too.
What's
It'd be
that?
like
I said that's a reboot of a series. You're starting a whole new story over from beginning with Henry Cavill, to
Well-
retell Superman's story. But
Yeah.
fuck, I was gonna say
I mean,
something. I don't remember.
we had what Black Panther was in Civil War. You get him in
I think
all these
here's the
other
something.
movies and Black Panther movie,
Here's
and
the
it'd be weird if they just were like, you know what, it's going to be Terry Crews now.
Yeah, no,
I mean, not
I hope
Terry
they wouldn't
Crews.
choose Terry Crews.
I wish they picked Terry Crews. I would love that.
Here's the thing. How do you like? Here's the difficult thing, right? How do you address the fact that he's not in the movies anymore? How do you kill him, quote unquote?
In
kill
suit,
him off
you have
screen
him
or
die
off
in
camera?
suit, and then you CGI like a funeral.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
You deep fake his face on
How would
someone
you do
and
that?
show respect to him, and then the mantle gets passed. Gets passed.
You like the Star Wars what's her name?
Princess Leia.
Princess Leia thing? Yeah. Yeah. I guess
I mean,
that
you
just
kinda
feels
have to.
wrong to me. Doesn't that feel wrong?
No, it would feel
Doesn't that
wrong to
feel like-
recast him as somebody like he never even existed.
No, well, I don't know that you have to say he never existed. I think no matter how you do this, whether it's
They'd be like, you know what? Oh, that
Harry
guy who was Black Panther in all these movies, not no more.
Well, think of it this way: did you see the trailers, or did you watch the new Matrix movie? And how
Oh my
Morpheus
God.
is a totally different person, and how we're not supposed
Yeah.
to talk about it. It's
was
very
bad.
fucking obvious that it's not him. Even the acting is
Yeah.
different. And
Well,
I know
even the
that-
guy. You seen the movie, yeah?
No, but I'm
I
not.
haven't
going
seen it yet.
Okay, well, don't watch
I
it.
don't
It's
care.
fucking horrible.
Yeah.
They have like
I'm gonna watch it, but I'm.
they have like
Yeah,
another guy plays like Agent Smith. And it's
Mhm.
not like the normal Agent Smith from all the other movies. It's like some weird. It just feels weird.
Yeah.
It feels weird. Like you keep seeing like these glimpses of them like seeing themselves in like in a mirror or whatever. And they're like different people, and it was not a good. There was no reason for that movie. It did nothing for me. The fighting was fucking weird. It was like super slow. Like it was just I don't know. Like I feel like
Everyone-
I heard it was horrible.
yeah, I mean the fight scenes were what made
Absolutely
the Matrix. Like you just can't have these like I don't know. It reminded me of like seeing Adam Driver fight like it was like a giant fucking like, I don't know like a rock man or something. It was just bad. It was bad.
Right. Fair enough.
Rockman.
Yeah,
Um.
Adam Driver ruined Star Wars.
So yeah, everyone liked No Way Home. I liked at the very end that he had to make his own costume. He ditched the Iron Spider. It's a bright blue and red costume. It's very nostalgic for everybody, when it comes to comics and stuff like that. So if it ends right there, I would honestly be okay. Do I want to see more Tom Holland Spider-Man? 100%. I will watch it every time it comes out. I'll be very happy to watch it. But again, that movie hit every aspect of the Spider-Man lore and stuff that I wanted, and all of the touching moments that I wanted, and it came to a conclusion where it doesn't.
I'd be pissed if they fucking stopped it right there.
Really?
I need 2 more movies. I need at least
But
2 more.
The thing about it, like I agree with what Tom said. And I agree with you saying I'd be pissed.
No,
but
fuck what Tom says. That's fucking bullshit.
It was back to Peter Parker, right? He's moving into a shitty apartment. He doesn't have a job. He has no way to pay his bills. Nobody knows he's Spider-Man, right? He's got all these issues. He can't talk to anybody about it. He is low level. He doesn't have any high tech. You know what I want to see the next movie? I want to see him and Matt Murdock beat the shit out of the Kingpin. I want to see Marvel team up with Matt Murdock and low level, or not low level, but just street level, normal Peter Parker, street level Daredevil, and they're just fighting they're fighting the Mafia and they're fighting Kingpin, and maybe there's
I hope they fight the NWO. Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Hogan.
Marvel tag team up.
If they took on the Hand, and it was just like this super like ninja
Yeah.
fighting kind of situation, all in the alleyways of Queens or New York in general. It would be cool, and I'd be
You could do
100%
like the
down.
Chameleon. Like the Chameleon is a great just easy street level and deals
We're
with
gonna
the
get
mob a lot. And
we're gonna get a Venom movie next. We're gonna get a Venom Spider-Man crossover movie.
I think that, unfortunately that's what's gonna happen. But I don't want that.
I think they should do that movie, and then second movie, Peter meets Miles, teaches Miles, and then fucking gives it to Miles.
I would be more okay with Tom Hardy's Venom existing in Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man and watch that movie. And then
apparently that's what they're saying. Like,
and never see either of them again after that.
I don't like Tom. I like Tom Hardy. I don't like what Sony did with Venom.
I don't like the back and forth buddy cop thing. So if they did one movie with a Spider-Man and they fought each other and then never shown either of them again, I'd be totally fine with it.
I think it'd be good if they did. Maybe there's another Venom, a different Eddie Brock from Spider-Man's universe.
And that's the thing. At the end of No Way Home, he leaves a piece of the symbiote in Tom Holland's world, and that's obviously not Tom Hardy's anymore. That'll attach to somebody else. And I think that's their way of bringing Venom into the MCU more and using it with somebody else.
Or maybe we get a different person who plays. Maybe we get an
Agent Venom.
Definitely not. No, because Flash Thompson is fucking.
He is a bitch. Yeah.
Yeah, and this reality, Flash Thompson's a bitch.
Yeah, it's true. I want Flash Thompson from the fucking Korean War. That's the
one. I don't know. I was hoping that fucking we'd get a Hobgoblin.
Yeah.
But now he knows magic, which I don't really think was something that they needed for the movie.
Right.
Well, Ned is Ned Leeds, you mean?
Yeah, I mean he's not the most famous Hobgoblin. He's not the most famous Hobgoblin. There was other Hobgoblins before Ned Leeds,
he is the original Hobgoblin though. I don't see them making him a bad guy. He's like,
I don't know. There could have been foreshadowing with the whole.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not gonna be bad. I'm not gonna turn against you.
And now they don't. And now they don't know it. Now they don't know each other.
I guess so. He's like a good character. I don't think they'll do that. I mean, maybe. I mean, they kind of hinted at it in that very beginning before they started showing any trailers. They had that picture of the actor or whatever, and then they had the little orange hat on his head. So I was like, cool, maybe we're gonna get a start of the Hobgoblin, and then nothing. But I think you're the Hobgoblin.
I'm the booby goblin. Show me your boobies. It's funny while we're talking. This guy I tattooed the other day sent me a picture of his tattoo, and it was on his chest, and he cut out where his nipple was. And I was like, I literally just tattooed you a couple of days ago. Why are you sending me a picture of your tattoo and not showing your nipple? I saw your nipple, dog. You think I'm some kind of deviant who's just gonna zoom in on the nipple or something?
Yes.
I might.
All right, what else?
Tom, are you gonna watch Boba Fett?
Yeah, that came out today, huh?
I watched it last night. So
was it good?
I didn't watch it yet.
It's a good first episode.
Fair enough.
I mean, it wasn't amazing. I didn't think it was amazing. It's really short. It's 30 minutes.
Do you need to finish Mandalorian to watch the first episode?
No.
Okay. I know Nikki hasn't finished Mandalorian, and so if I watch Boba Fett with her, I don't want it to be all confusing.
I can't remember. How far did she get in The Mandalorian?
I don't know. How far did you get in The Mandalorian? No idea, she says.
Did she get to the part where Boba Fett's in The Mandalorian?
Yes.
So, I mean,
I could retell just his portion of it and probably be fine, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's really just him taking over fucking Jabba's little thing.
And that was just an extra credit scene after the end of The Mandalorian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she's not mixed. Yeah, I just watched that part, and you can pull it up on YouTube, I'm sure.
Yeah, and if you don't care about Star Wars, it probably doesn't matter at all. So
No.
Yeah, I feel like these shows are always made that like you could not know anything about it and just watch it and still be satisfied. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of how it has to be. I got one thing to say about Hawkeye. Like, I fucking love that series. It was fantastic. Um, the very ending when the mother runs the car into Kingpin pissed me off so much because she was parked right next to him. They were standing on the, and she came at him like she was doing 60 miles an hour, bro. Like, what did you get in the car, reverse it all the way down the street in a matter of seconds, and then fucking drive to hit him like that? Like, I am all about the suspension of disbelief when it comes to comic book, but for some reason that drove me insane.
I didn't like the shirt he was wearing.
It was so cheap. I think that stuff is like typical Kingpin that you get from like the early comics where it's like the early Stan Lee comics where he's like got the diamond.
No, I like the stick, and there is a Kingpin Daredevil thing where he's wearing that exact same shirt.
Yeah,
but I just feel like MCU wise, like we've always seen Kingpin a certain way. Yes, I know you're fixing to show me this.
The menacing Kingpin is much better. Yeah.
So it was an original graphic novel called Family Business that was Spider-Man versus Kingpin, and it's the exact same shirt.
Yeah, I just for some reason I just didn't like it. It just felt weird.
Yeah,
I think he just wasn't. I think he was still everything I wanted the Kingpin to be, but he wasn't like physically he was like.
I mean, he ripped the fucking goddamn door off of the car.
Yeah, got shot with an arrow, got blown up, got all this stuff.
I don't like how Kate Bishop kind of beat him up. But he's not. I don't like that.
He wasn't that menacing figure. Like he wasn't horrifying the way he was in Daredevil. Like, but you're never gonna get that thing like that viciousness that you get in Daredevil. They're not gonna do it. So
no,
I think
not on Disney. Not with Disney.
Not on Disney.
That sucks. Because Daredevil.
That sucks, but I also think it's still. I think it was still good enough. Like I was still satisfied with it.
Well, I mean, you're never gonna get the Daredevil series was so fucking good. Like you're never gonna get that fight between Daredevil and Kingpin like you would on Netflix with Disney Plus, which is weird. I don't know why. They should just do it. They should just release it on Hulu or something.
Do you guys think that Echo was established enough to then be her own character in a TV show?
No, I told you this already. No,
I know, but no one else knows that. But the end of the Hawkeye series, where Echo confronts him, points a gun in his face, and everything, that is directly pulled from a comic.
Daredevil.
Never read that comic. Yeah, I don't want to necessarily say what happens to Kingpin, but if it plays out that way, I'm kind of interested. But the only way she could have her own show is to it be the new Daredevil. It has to be Kingpin as a villain. It has to be dark. It has to, you know what I mean? I don't see the story that she established in the last two and a half episodes of Hawkeye being good enough to carry her own TV show. That's a lot.
I think I agree with you. I agree with you. But I think there's also like being like just playing devil's advocate here. Like I think we've seen plenty of times that Marvel and you know the creatives that work on this stuff like develop something that you don't really know or care about and make it really good, right?
Yeah, but how do you base a TV show around a character that doesn't talk?
I don't know. I have no idea. But you know what? And I might watch the first episode and be like, wow, they made this work. And I mean,
Daredevil works because he talks. He's blind, but he can talk.
Sure. Well, maybe. I mean, you don't always need it. Who knows? You know, like who knows?
I mean, I can't do six episodes of sign language. Nothing against people that are fucking deaf.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you, but
I just thought she was boring. She was just boring. She was boring.
Yeah,
the whole thing was boring.
Her character was underdeveloped. I don't even know why she existed. To be honest with you, in this,
there was no reason for it.
I didn't need her. You could take her out. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, maybe have Kingpin kill her father in the first 2 episodes or something, and then have her come back at the very end, all grown up, and be like, do the gun, and then kind of tell the story there. But there was just so many characters going on. I mean, you have Black Widow's sister, you have Kate Bishop, you have Hawkeye, then you have them hinting at fucking Mockingbird, all kinds of fucking,
Oh, she's definitely a Mockingbird.
Yeah.
I
I
think like
where it won't matter. You won't see her do anything.
No, she's so fine too.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
But I will 100% watch the new Black Widow and Kate Bishop with their own show by themselves.
Absolutely.
Being fucking annoying to each other. I love that a lot.
Yes, I agree.
That is great.
Yeah. The back and forth between the two of them, they were just, the pacing was right on. They hit every note. It was funny and hilarious, and I loved every second of it. And they were spectacular together.
What's funny is Tom, the last show that we did, Tom was talking about her contacts, how it bugged him. Right after that, or like maybe like last week or the week before that, I don't know, maybe like right after that, I watched Witcher season 2, and everybody's wearing contacts, and I could not stop looking at their fucking contacts, and I was like, God, I kept thinking, God damn it, Tom.
TV resolution has gotten too good to where you can literally see the line of the contact in their eyes when they're the close up, and it just takes me out of it completely because you know that they're colored, and it's not just for them to see; it's 100% color, and it looks off once you realize it. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. I think it's better in Witcher than it is Kate Bishop.
Yeah.
But
anyways, I'm done, and my pizza just got delivered. So, do you guys have anything else to talk about before I walk away?
Happy birthday, Tom!
Happy birthday, Tom! Did you get a cake for your birthday, or was it the cake from before that you got?
I did get another cake for my birthday, as well as a cake that's a coworker gave me. So
no one wants to see that cake.
Sure. No, it's not. The coolest thing, like, I wanted to show this for Christmas. It's not birthday related, but I've never played one of these before, and I don't know if you guys you're old enough to have, but there's little board games that you used VHS tapes to watch while you played a game, and it related to the game. I've never done one of these before, and Nikki gave it to me for Christmas, and I'm really excited to play it. It looks super fucking cool. But yeah, I do also have like Christmas or birthday presents waiting for me to open as well. So I'm very over talking to you too, in the nicest way possible.
Well, we love you. And
I don't love you.
Birthday.
Fuck you.
Sounds great.
All right, roll the credits.